Hello, hello, everybody. Natalie Cutler-Welch here, and welcome back to another episode of the one-on-one Up Your Brave live stream interview. I'm talking to Penny Elliot today. Hey, Penny.
Hi, how's it going, everyone?
So excited to have you on. Well, first of all, I'm super excited about your book, which I just received in the post. Thank you so much.
No way.
And I'm excited. So today, you guys, we're diving into the topic of attitude and gratitude, which is our theme this week. And specifically with Penny, because she's done so many cool things, which we're going to talk about in a second, gaining momentum in your life and your business and using your attitude and gratitude to do that. So you've got this amazing book. So Penny, if you guys look really closely at this, you guys, she is like a multi-marathon runner. So check out, these are all her what are they even called?
Medals. Yeah.
I was going to say lanyards, but that's a conference thing. They're all her medals. So amazing. So Penny, you are a author, a speaker, a woman entrepreneur, an impact entrepreneur. And I love to shine the light on people like you who are making things happen and taking action. So give us a little bit. Let's start off with a bit of your backstory. What are you up to and how did you get here?
Well, as everyone will tell you, it wasn't just an overnight thing. I actually started out making paleo muesli with a best friend. So she wanted to go paleo and I was like, no, screw that. I love my muesli in the morning and I'm never giving it up. And we were at an ultra marathon in Iceland on the big volcano that, the one with the big long name that I'm not even going to pretend I can pronounce. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. That erupted and closed the whole airspace forever. We were out there and I said, well, if you can come up with a paleo muesli, I'll go paleo. And so that's how it started. So we made 4 different varieties of P&P paleo and put it to market, and we couldn't keep up with making it. And I went to a few different production places and said, look, it has to be grain-free and in an environment that's not going to hurt anyone. And went into quite a bit of in-depth research about it. And everyone was like, I'm not so sure about this paleo market. Is it really going to take off? If you Google it, I'd hate to know, but there's millions of searches now with paleo, and we were right on the cusp of just before it went ginormous. So we stopped, right? And we were like, well, we don't have a vehicle to produce this anymore. But my family are farmers from, it's now South Auckland. It was North Waikato, depends on where you want to place it. And so I guess running a business and making money on my own terms has always just been around me, right? We're not job families. And so I thought, right, this is a way that I can sell a product online. Surely there's other things I can do, and just started, immersing myself in that, and decided that I'd like to get into the online coaching space. And I really wanted to help health and wellness advocates and people in that industry, because that's what really drives me. And as you can see from the front of my book, I love doing triathlons and marathons. I've done 18 Ironmans and 40 marathons and several ultra marathons. Massive, ridiculous, crazy amounts of hours of training. But once I sort of scratched the surface of helping these people, I was in a group program with 50 other women. And the one thing that just slapped me in the face so hard was the fact that they just didn't know how to sell. So all these beautiful women out there are trying to put all their different products, services, heart, soul, energy, and everything into the world. Yet when it came to the sale, they were like, well, I don't think I really should charge anyone. And just shied away from it. And then obviously their businesses didn't grow, because money in sales into a business is like air in your lungs. And now that we've all gone through this COVID pandemic, you understand how much you should appreciate air in your lungs. And I thought, this is so sad, because they're not making the sales, so therefore they don't keep going in their business. And so then they go back to a job, or the worst case scenario is they try something different. And they try something different. And there's just failure on top of failure, on top of failure, on top of failure, on top of failure. And yes, you do have to sort of fail to make tweaks and changes, but you also need to see some success. Come on, everyone needs to see some success to keep going forward. And so I just changed from general coaching into more sales and business focused and helping women get momentum in their business. And I've been doing that for like 4 years now.
Oh my gosh. Okay, first of all, I want to dive in, just going back to the muesli thing, and commend you on your attitude and your gratitude, because some people would be like, oh my gosh, we should have stuck with it. Look where we could have been now. Paleo's huge. But you like took the learning, took the lesson. That wasn't your journey. Now you're helping women. And I totally agree. I find same thing. Maybe it's because I'm an extroverted Canadian Kiwi, but I find a lot of people are afraid to put themselves out there. They're afraid to shine. They're afraid to, I don't like the phrase ask for the sale, but they are. And they're like, I don't want to, how many times have I heard, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be salesy. I've heard that so many times. So I'm excited to dive into that and the mindset around that a little bit more today, because you're right. If you're in business, you want to stay in business. Otherwise you're just in hobby, like expensive hobby.
Yeah, really expensive one. And one that's also brings quite a lot of shame. Like, let's just like the Band-Aid off, right? People, get your cup of tea, sit down, we're ready for this. So if someone says to you, and we've all been in this situation, so how's that little thing you're doing on the side? You know, how's that going? And you're like, it's not a little thing I do on the side. I actually sit down and do it all day. And then when the kids go to bed, I do it all night as well, right? So it's not a little thing on the side. And they're like, oh, right, okay. So have you made any money? And you've got to actually, if you're not getting those sales in, you've actually got to swallow that hard pill and go, well, it's not going as well as I'd hoped, right? And then you leave that barbecue, that family function, the school gate, whatever it is, and you either feel like, one, you just lied to people and said it was really great, so you feel really bad, or two, you feel really bad because it's not going great and you had to like swallow that hard pill and tell them that it's not going very great. And I'm here to say that you can totally change that by learning how to I guess, with the theme of gratitude and attitude, be grateful that you've got something that you can sell and change people's lives. So if we flip that on the head and, Natalie, I know you're really into doTERRA. You're one of New Zealand's best and leaders in that field. So say, for example, great example. So I had Josh nearly 2 years ago, and I had him by planned cesarean. And so that meant that it wasn't certain that the milk was going to come through, right? That colostrum and the milk was going to come through, because there's none of that like hormonal release or anything like that. Literally, like I was going in at 10 past 11 and he was coming out at like 11:16 a.m. And so my body was like, well, hang on a moment. We were quite happy still being an oven, and now you've got to be like a, producer. So I spoke with, a doTERRA consultant, and I got clary sage, which is like really helps milk production. And I put a load of that on my chest. And you know what? In the recovery ward, I was able to breastfeed my baby straight away. Now, some of my friends who've had cesareans have been 2 or 3 days before their milk's come through, right? Terrible, painful, terribly like exasperating, emotional, feel like you're failing. I'm not going to do this mum thing. Is it ever going to happen, right? Now, that clary sage, I don't know, was like $40, $50, something like that. Worth every single cent. So grateful that someone said to me, you need this product, buy it. Believe me, it is going to, it's going to help you. It was life-changing, right? Life-changing in a small bottle. Now, imagine if that person had said to me, I kind of do this oil thing, but, it's like, I'm not quite sure if you like it. Maybe you could just like have a smell and I don't know, like it's meant to do this. And like, I know it does, but it's $50. It's quite a lot. And I know you're going to be a new mom, and like, there's not very much money when you're a new mom, and like, do you want it? Right? Like, that was just magic in a bottle. So I want you guys to all change your thought process around that and see that actually it's not being pushy asking for this out. It's not being gross. It's not being like any of those icky words, right? Gone. If your product or service changes someone's life for the better, then actually shame on you for not asking them to buy it.
I totally agree. I think, the apologetic, the little role play there, we've seen that so many times. They're almost like apologizing for trying to kind of maybe help you if you want them to. So I often say to people, I say to my clients often, tell them what to do and make it easy. Like people, it's not, like if you give them 1,000 options, they're going to be confused. If you go, hey, maybe I'm not sure, but it's like, hey, you know what? This, you've got this going on. Oh my gosh, you totally need to get, whatever, this. And they appreciate that. They do appreciate it. And it's not very helpful at all. And I think we are in business. Everybody is really to help people, but you want to stay in business. So I love that little example there is so good. Hey, you guys, if you're watching us live, I can see that some people are. Please let us know geographically where you're watching from. And if you're game, you can let us know one thing that you're grateful for today or this week, something that you're grateful for. Let's get that vibe going on. I am grateful. I mean, I went to bed last night. I had one of those nights where my brain was just on fire. Like I could not sleep. Yeah,
I
don't know. I couldn't sleep, but I'm so grateful for the fact that I work for me. Like, just the fact that I can wake up. I actually had an 8:00 interview with someone in America, so I didn't need to get up in the morning. But just the fact that, hey, if I want to have a nap later, like I can, or I don't have to go out and do things because I work for myself. So I'm so grateful that I am my own boss. And I love how you said you come from a farming family and you're not job people. I'm like, I come from the most non-entrepreneurial family, and I'm the only one that's not a job person. So whatever world that you guys watching grew up in, know that you are the CEO of your own life. So let's hear a little bit more, Penny, about what you've noticed. What is the thing that women struggle with the most? Obviously, it's asking for the sale, but what else comes up a lot for people? And what words of wisdom, what other words of wisdom can you share?
Well, you know what? So I have my own podcast, and obviously you've been a wonderful guest on it, the Get Momentum podcast. And what I see so much is people not being able to bridge the gap from no followers or like a very, small starting out your business to these people who, I just interviewed someone this morning from Puerto Rico, right? And their huge palace of a house was in the background.
Is that where he lives?
Huh?
Is that where he lives?
Yeah, in Puerto Rico. And he started with 0 following. We're talking about John Lee Dumas from Entrepreneur on Fire. JLD, and he started with 0 people, and he did a podcast a day. Try and guess how many he did.
Okay, like 60?
No. He did from 0, he did 2,000 days of a podcast a day with an entrepreneur every single day.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Now, I just want that to sink in. And then how we're going to bridge that to gratitude is because so many people actually say, oh, well, I can't be grateful for my, oh, well, there's not much to be grateful about, or there's not much to be happy about because I didn't sign a client today, or I didn't sell anything today, or like I only got 5 likes on my Instagram post, or I only had, X amount of people come to my live, or I only had, right? Remove the word only and just, okay? Because it's absolutely rubbish, because you think if John Lee Dumas, JLD, had said, oh, I only had 5 people listen to my podcast today, I'm not going to do another one tomorrow, he wouldn't be sitting in Puerto Rico doing launches with Tony Robbins, right? And Russell Brunson, and having like a ginormous house, and you can see his earnings online every single month, right? He's had 82 months of 100K profit plus for 82 consecutive months, and he puts it all online. So when it comes to gratitude, if you're really struggling, and hey, I've been there. I've sat on the Swiss ball in my office crying so hard I nearly fell off it. So I now don't have a Swiss ball because it's quite dangerous to go headfirst into the bookshelf. Like everything felt like it was failing. So what I tell people, especially in gratitude, is to just come back to the really, really simple things, right? I'm grateful that I can put 2 feet on the floor and get out of bed on my own. I'm grateful that I can open the curtains in my house that I own, along with like the banks and everyone else, and it's dry and warm. right? There are a load of people on the planet that can't do those two simple things. So if you can start with that, and then the other one I like to start with as well is be grateful for the water you drink, right? I think that we do not put enough emphasis on the fact that we can drink water. And especially at the moment, like air in our lungs from COVID, we need to realize that actually that is something to be grateful for and not take advantage, not take for granted. And then the other thing that we can be grateful for is water. And, if you live in Auckland, in New Zealand, we have got a water shortage, right? And they are looking at desalinizing seawater. And I just think that's so disgusting. And I do not want to drink that when it comes through the tap. So I need to be grateful for the water that's coming through the tap right now. So if you start with those simple things, it's easier to find things to be grateful for in your business. You start really, really simple, because when you start really simple, it gives your brain a loop of success. And so then you'll go to look for more things that you can be grateful for, and more and more and more. And then it becomes a well-trodden path in your brain and in your neurological pathways that you just naturally look for the good things that you can be grateful for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, love it. Instead of the opposite, which is not gonna be, it's not gonna be beneficial. We've got Judith Ubesley from wonderful Wellington commenting. She's super grateful that she was on TV yesterday. Judith was on the cafe, and she was talking about how to help kids be confident eaters. So the opposite of fussy eaters and things like that. And then we've got somebody else commenting. I can't see the name, but I imagine it might be Charlene. She's in Walkworth, grateful for a new knee. She had a surgery. That the whole process has been very positive. Feel grateful. I have so much love around me through this process. I feel incredibly grateful for doTERRA oils. She's been using those for her knee as well. And the doctors are like, what are you doing? You are recovering so well. So that is amazing to hear. Thank you, ladies, for commenting. So if you're just joining us, please go ahead, let us know where you are and one thing that you're grateful for. Hey, Penny, I also want to talk about your book, because I know a lot of people listening might be thinking, I want to write a book one day, or I've got a book in me. So your journey in the writing of a book process, what are one or two things advice that you could give, some things you wish you'd known before, to other people that are aspiring to write a book?
Okay. So I have been a journalist for years and years and years, magazine editor from IPC Media in London. So you're probably all now going, oh, well, of course she wrote a book because it's easy for her. But what I want to tell you is I failed English at school. And I want that to sink in with everyone. I'm also dyslexic, right? So, but that was before dyslexia was cool and even diagnosable, right? It was just that I had a spelling problem. That's how it was always diagnosed at school. But what I want to say is that if you want to do something, you just need to put your mind to it and find a way, right? So I wrote, so when I first decided I wanted to get into journalism, I went and got a book and I wrote some pictures and I just followed what other people did. So when I wanted to write a book, I got myself a book coach. Now even when I did marathons and Ironman and everything like that, I found someone who had already worked out the path. And that has been true for everything that I've done in life, is I found someone to hold my hand and show me the fastest way to success. So that was the one thing that I really did with writing a book, is I got someone to help me and hold me accountable. So I had a daily word limit that I had to hit, and that meant I needed to carve some time out. But I had a baby, right? He was a newborn. He was only 2 months old when I started the process. And yes, I know Natalie's shaking her head, because I thought having a baby was going to be like something you kind of, did on the side, much like having a puppy or something. It's not like getting a cat, people. Not like getting a cat, not like getting a puppy, not like getting anything. When people say to you, oh, congratulations, it'll be life-changing, I had like rose-tinted glasses on and thought, oh, it'll be wonderful. No, it's life-changing, because like the old life you had, gone. New life, new you. And I could go on about that for hours, but we're not talking about that today. And so I thought, right, well, how am I going to write this book whilst I'm not really getting much sleep? And the only time that I put him down, I'm being told sleep, right? So how am I going to do it? So I think the biggest lesson in learning that you guys can all take from this is you don't always have to do things the conventional way, right? So most people will say, well, get up an hour earlier and do it then, right? I'm sorry, I've already been up. all hours of the night. I don't want to then set my alarm to get up even earlier, and my alarm is going to go off right next to my baby's head who's sleeping in the same room as me. Not happening, right? So I could have gone, okay, well, I'll write the book later, and that's probably what's happened to a lot of you who've got this idea of a book in your head, but you kind of like started it, dabbled, not quite sure, and so was like, too hard basket. So I laid it all out on Post-it notes, and I moved all the chapters around that I thought were right. And I thought, well, we'll start there. And then I would take Josh for a walk to try and get him to sleep because, oh my God, that child never, ever slept. And I would voice record each of my chapters, right? And then I sent it to rev.com, which is a translation provider, and they would literally have that back to me when he had his next nap. And I could just edit the already written, 3,000 or 4,000 words for each chapter. And that's how I got it done.
I love that. I love how, first of all, you asked for help and you didn't just like, hey, can anyone help me? You like went to someone that knew what they were doing. They've done it 1,000 times before. And also you used your strengths, which is talking. Obviously, you mentioned about the spelling problem and things. So that's so great. It's like, guys, you don't have to sit there going, oh, I need to do 1,000 words today, plugging away. If speaking is your natural, speaking is my natural. I have written a book. It's a parenting book. It took us 5 years to write this book. And it was very expensive because we hired very professional editors and all the things. However, nowadays, they're like even the dictation tool that you mentioned, brilliant for people that have the thoughts, but they just don't want to sit down and type it and capture it. That's such a great tip.
Yeah. And it's such an easy way to capture everything. And then I went through and edited every chapter and thought, oh, that's pretty good. But hey, I was a writer. I had a team of sub-editors on the magazine, so I knew that. So I've paid to have it professionally edited like you did with your book. Once I had the big manuscript and it went backwards and forwards 3 times. And then I had the front cover designed, and then it all just sticks together and it goes up to Amazon. That's where you can grab it, and it's on print on demand. So you don't have to have, boxes and boxes of them and buy thousands of copies from overseas if you don't want to. And I think that's one of the things that we really need to be grateful for in today's world is there is no one set way of doing anything now. Look what Zoom and Live and everything online has taught us is that, before we used to say our children had to go to school to learn. Not true. Not true at all.
At the moment they can't. My sister lives in San Fran. She's got 4 kids, and at the moment they can't. So coming back to the attitude gratitude thing, I was going through my desk this morning and I found this, which is what I wrote back in like 2000, so 20 years ago. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's called Attitude is Everything. And it's this thing I used to read out at the end of I was an Outward Bound instructor, and I used to read this out to like inspire and motivate people 20 years ago. But when you were saying, some people say they want to write a book, and like really, my motto is if you want it bad enough, you'll make it happen, which sounds pretty harsh, but I think it's quite true. And I just noticed that in this thing, I talked about any challenge in life or any achievement, whether it's paddling a river, climbing a climb, financial dilemmas, romantic confusions, whatever. It's all the way you look at it. It's what you're presented with and what you do with it. The only way to become a better climber is to become a better climber. And similarly, the only way to give up is to give up. Provoke thought, inspire inquiry, reflect on what's happened, learn but don't dwell, pick up rubbish, wherever you go. Plan for tomorrow, but live for today. Change is good. Carpe diem, baby. And this is a phrase I used to say, rock on, disco forever, and keep well the road. Anyway, I thought that was crazy, but I just found that today, and it's talking about like attitude and gratitude.
Yeah. And I love the piece about don't dwell. Too many times I see people just in general, not even in business, really dwelling on hardships, whatever that might look like, and dwell. Oh, I was a terrible mom. Oh, I didn't do that presentation well. Oh, I didn't do that presentation well. Oh, I'm never going to do another one because I didn't do that one well. And it's just like cuts your life off, right? And that's rubbish. Just because you did it badly once doesn't mean you're never going to do it again, and like having children's really like brought that back to me, because like, do you think Josh can brush his teeth properly? No. Like, we've got toothpaste everywhere and usually the toothbrush gets thrown, but he doesn't like go the next day, well, no, sorry, Mum, I couldn't quite brush my teeth very well yesterday, so I'm not going to do it today. It still keeps having to go, right? So as adults, we really need to have that much, that everyone's saying it's self-love, but I think it's more freedom just to screw up and be like, oh, well, next, let's try it again, and not dwell on it. And I think some things definitely need an emotional process, but put a cap on it, really be strict with yourself. Like, okay, I'm going to give myself 24 hours to like lie in bed, watch TV and like really just hate on myself. But after that 24 hours, enough is enough, right? I'm not going to get any more benefit from 48 hours, right? I've told myself I sucked. Enough. It's time to now move on, right? And really like chop that and then be grateful for all the things that you learned from it and really change your attitude and step back into like the person that you need to be to have progress.
You know what? This is really the crux of it. Like, and even coming back to sales or coming back to anything, it's like people need to dust themselves off and move on. And so I feel like you've hit the nail on the head in terms of business resilience as well, because if we just dwell on what, like, no one bought my program, or I spoke at this event and no one bought my book or whatever, it's like you need to dust yourself off, hashtag life lesson, but learn, what can I take from that? What would I do differently? And then like move on. And that's the key, I think, with people that stay in business, because there are ups and downs, with all the things. But I think being able to, like you said, just kind of enough is enough. There's enough time to dwell, and now it's time to move on. So I love that about you. You're all about the action. Where can people find you online and, follow you, and tell me how you help people if they go, oh my God, Penny, I love her energy. How can you help people? I know you do stuff with funnels.
Yes. Yeah. So basically we help people get consistent clients online, and there's two different ways that you can do that. You can do that in a group environment, and that's like a done with you service. And then if tech and doing all that kind of jazz and writing and copy isn't your jam, or you're at a position where you can start to outsource that, but you're not quite sure if you want to build a team yourself, we've got done for you. And so the primary crux of it is to getting consistent clients. We use the consistent client formula for you, and getting momentum in your business to go to that next level, wherever you are in your levels, right? But we primary focus is on sales, because sales funds everything else to be able to get you to that next level. And you can find out more about that at pennyelliot.com, just like it's spelt down there with 2 T's.com. If you want to know behind the scenes and what's coming up and what I'm doing, and I generally just sort of share my whole life, not as a hot mess, but as like an open book on Instagram, on the stories. So Penny_Elliot_. So you can find me there on Instagram as well. And then obviously the Get Momentum podcast that comes out weekly, that's on all platforms, and you can buy the book on Amazon.
Yay! So good. Here it is, you guys. I love the size of this book. Like, look at it. So this is my book here. Look, it's so cute. Like, I love it because you can just toss it in your bag. You can just read it. I only got it yesterday, so I haven't started it, but I'm excited to dive in and to learn more about your journey. It says your ultimate guide to create 100K in 100 days without fear, overwhelm, and burnout. Who doesn't want that? That's awesome. Thank you so much, Penny. Is there anything else you want to mention before we wrap up?
No, that's all. I just want to up your brave is an amazing tagline. And that does come from being grateful for what you've already got and where you've come from, but also like really being grateful for the things that you're going to receive as well.
Nice. So for people to think not just of the achievements that they've had, like you with all your medals, but for what's in the future. And I love that you mentioned that. In fact, one of the tasks that I put out this week for people is to really envision your future self, so I feel like you're right. We need to see ourselves as earning whatever it might be, 100K in 100 days, and really visioning that, whether it be writing a letter to yourself or mind mapping it out, what is this new version of you look like? I feel like we're so tied to what we've done. Like you said, the dwelling. Don't dwell, but think about your future self. So that is a good point.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, when you read the book, you'll see that you guys will see that when I first got tasked with that as a goal, 100K in 100 days, I laughed. I literally wrote in my journal, what a joke. I would be beside myself if I could do this. And then I kept a journal every day for the 100 days. And there's some actual excerpts in the book, photos of it. And you'll see just how that our minds are so malleable, and what we feed them is how they develop and grow. So why not feed them with stuff that's really, really cool and watch that grow?
Love it, love it, love it. Dream big. That's set massive big goals, and it is so possible to do it. I love it. Thank you so much, Penny, for joining us today.
No worries. See you later and have a lovely Friday.
All right. Thanks so much. Thanks you guys for watching. Definitely go ahead and comment. What is one action you're going to take from today, from all the goodness that Penny shared? One thing you're going to take action on, because it's one thing listening, but it's another thing doing. So until next time, remember to up your brave, say what you want, and make it happen. See you guys.